going on, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon with the man, the myth, Big Nades, the legend as well. Big night for Big Nades down here. Every night's big night for him, but 2 tickets? Whoa, hold on. Is your camera?
Yeah, little boy upgrade the camera, baby. Little follows me around the room. What you know about it, Tito?
That's nice. That's nice. Big Nade's got 2 tickets in the 1220 qualifier, 1 in the 555. He goes, yeah, might as well spend a little more on a camera that moves with me. Nades, what's going on, my man? That's awesome.
Yeah, no, coming off a big weekend. I didn't capitalize as much as I wanted to on. I think I had like 15 tickets to the $100 milli for the Masters out there. Didn't quite get the job done. I know our guy Shaloub's in the chat. Shout out to Shaloub, man. This dude has been absolutely red hot. I thought I was red hot to start the baseball season. That quickly got halted very quickly and shifted over to him. So shout out to him. I know he crushed, many members crushed in the Master Street. Shout out to Rory, man. I got pretty emotional watching that. I mean, people say what you want about Rory, right? Crybaby this, crybaby that. It's pretty incredible what he's done. And for him to finally get the job done, I mean, he tried everything he could do to throw it away. And for him to come back and stick that shot close and make the putt was pretty cool. Obviously, I'm a huge golf fan over here. Huge golfer myself, and I just like cheering for winners, right? And just seeing the raw emotion was pretty cool there. So looking forward to coming off a big weekend here and hopefully a big night, right? DraftKings, massive prize pools out there, 555, 200K to first. Got 2 qualifiers, right? The 1220 qualifier out there, and then there's Ash for all you high rollers out there. I don't know if Kenny's out there in it, but there's a 5K queue as well. So 3 live final seats will get spoken for tonight, and looking forward to trying to figure out how to navigate this slate. And I think I got a good lens on it overall, and we'll see if it comes through.
Hey, I'm absolutely excited to talk some ball with you, Big Nades. I got to say hi to so many in chat. First, though, I got to say, you mentioned all the big boy contests. I love the $5 contest, NBA and MLB, 50K up top, like 60,000 people almost. Hey, if you only want to play like $20 or 20 teams, if you want to play $20, 4 teams for a chance, 4 teams, $5 equals 20 for a chance at 50K. Absolutely no one would be mad at that. So huge night in the
one additional thing on that too, right? Everyone thinks you got to max those contests. I had multiple sweats already this year with 2 entries into those big tournaments. You're not playing that as your only right contest. Typically, I'm not. I'm just doing it for an upside. But many of the winners throughout the season win it with 1, 2, 5 teams in those big contests, right? Just because you have 150 doesn't guarantee the win, right? I'll tell you that, number one. And if you pick the right plays and you follow the process and you go in with your 4 or 5 teams, you definitely have a shot to ship it all. So don't be discouraged by that for sure.
Absolutely. Great point there. Got to say hi to all our guys in chat. We got our man, Sean Sullivan, Takedown, Little Neck, Pop Stoner, Paraby, Jason Turner, Michael Ortiz, Pop Stoner giving out all the bets if you want to check that out. Philly Phantom, I Am Rice, Jacob Stubbs, William, Mark F. Hey, shout out Mark F. Absolutely been dominating the MMA street. Shout out to you. Vistula, No Stop, Hebrew Cheetah, the absolute man in here, 555. I know he's got 3 tickets. Wombat, Michael Shaloub sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra cash he has. Shout out to you. Congrats on the awesome week. Baseball early slate last week, and then he parlays it into Masters. Absolutely awesome stuff. Lyle, Hebrew's loving the camera. Jason's in here. Michael Peterson. Devin, how much of you did you get to watch Rory? I watched almost all of Sunday. I took a little break. I had to run a couple errands, but watched the end. I mean, 125 out, just got to put it on the green to 2-putt, and he bunkers it. Man, but then he rebounds same hole, pretty much same shot. That was cool. Yeah, I watched a lot of it. Was cheering for Rory myself financially. Ross K in here. Adam, Jake, Yobi, Metro, Go Collect, Gator Nation, Justin. Man, so many people. You love to see it. Yobi already said, Richard, Eric, Jacob Stubbs, Adam. Appreciate every single one hanging out. Had to say hi to everybody. Again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Hey, look at that. Won a 555 ticket on just $28. All right, Big Nades. Time to talk some MLB. 8 games on the slate. Again, what I always do, I know you're similar. I pull up Kevin Ross weather report at Roto Grinders. All I see, I look for the orange and the red. I see a little orange, but it's yellow orange, which means the first one is how strong he feels about it. Orange yellow is more scary than yellow orange. So yellow orange, it says for Washington Pitt, a line of storm should move in around 6-7. Should be a late start and play, can avoid any interruptions. I'm looking at it like we're good to rock. Also, looking at SaberSim, I love how it's set up. There's a couple pretty high implied team totals on multiple teams, especially compared to what we've had earlier in the year. So, yeah, any final or initial thoughts, broad slate overview, Scooble on the mound will be mega chalk. After that, a little spread out, break down your initial thoughts before we go talk about pitcher.
Yeah, initial thoughts. One call out with the weather. Those two games actually that have the weather concerns are not even on the main slate. So San Francisco, Philly, Washington, Pitt. If you're playing the turbo slate or whatever out there, just keep an eye on those. Main slate really has no concerns outside of a little bit of yellow risk in that Mets and Twins game, which is definitely going to be important. There's some good pitchers in that game in particular that we'll touch on a little bit. But yeah, for the main weather concerns, not really an issue. As far as the main slate goes here, it's Scooble at the top, and then it's a bunch of guys that are really close to Scooble. Not really close, but closer than usual in terms of upside. I mean, there's some question marks with guys like Dustin May, who's making his like 10th or 11th start in 2 years or 3 years. Gets the nut matchup at home against the Rockies. And did get up to his pitch count got up to in his first 2 starts over almost 90 pitches there. So that I know that's a plus. You got Shane Baz, Sonny Gray, Valdez, Dylan Cease, all right there within 1,000 or so dollars of what Scooble is. So from a pitching standpoint, it's a loaded pitching slate at the top end for me. It's definitely a spend up at pitcher night for me. And when what that actually does for the field is makes teams like Atlanta and Detroit as the mega chalk because of their salaries, right? So take that for what it's worth. That's the common roster construction is 2 spend up pitchers in Detroit and Atlanta, just because it makes rosters work. So teams like the Dodgers, who should be mega chalk here tonight, are just not going to get there because of how DraftKings, right? We play salary-based game, and you can't double spend at pitcher and play the good Dodgers guys. So navigating through that is going to be an interesting talking point. There's some really good pitchers in one pitcher in particular, right, in Shane Baz, who historically has a pretty good matchup, right? But you talk weather. I'm a huge ballpark and weather guy, and that's by far and away the best hitting conditions on the slate. So trying to navigate that, we'll do our best to talk through it. But seems like a pretty fun slate. Definitely a spend up pitcher slate for me, and kind of build my stacks around what fits at pitcher personally.
I love it. We're about to dive right into pitcher. 2 things first. Philly Phantom. Obviously, our man Big Nade's on the slate plan. Atlanta didn't make it. He just talked about it. We will when we go to bats, but they're the chalk of the slate. I don't think there's any doubt about that. No, Ozuna is interesting, Ross said. But yeah, Nade's a pre-show. I'll tell some of the people, he'll say it later, but he doesn't want – he's not eating Braves chalk. If the Braves go off for 15, Big Nade's ain't going to be at the top. So can't have that happen. And then one last thing, Michael Evans – what's going on? He said, how much for a membership for a week? I believe right now, and if not, I'll have to hit up Hoop and Tambo, but DGen 75 is still going on. I do not know how long this will be up for. By far the best deal. Once this goes away, I do not think we'll ever have a deal this good. Usually $99 for all the content in SaberSim Core. DGen 75 gets you $75 off for your first month. Less than $1 a day your first month. $24 gets you all the content and gets you SaberSim Core, which we are sharing, as you see right here. Usually all the content, $79. The core, $99, so 20 extra bucks to be able to see 250 teams, build 150, and late swap on SaberSim, $30 more than that is the starter pack. Again, we do believe that is the best value. I know it's the best value for your dollar. Only 30 more to see 350 more teams and get SaberSim's projections and ownership and flashback to see what the pros are doing is elite. But if you haven't had anything with us, no better deal. DGen 75. Start with the core package. You can then upgrade after that. If you're playing hundreds of dollars a week, you want to check out the contest sims, by far the best in the industry. Obviously, a lot of cheese, though. $297 for your first month. But again, if you're already playing a lot more money than that, I would definitely recommend it. A lot of people 150ing, playing high-stakes stuff. They are using Sims. Majority are using SaberSim, the best optimizer out there. No one else said anything in chat. I think I said hi to everyone. So let's rock, Big Nades. We're going to talk pitcher. We're going to go – I'm going to sort by salary like usual. Let's go – yeah, we'll go 8K and above and then 8K and below. Let me quick again. I'm taking the average of SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim. When you're starter and above, you're able to do that. Looking at ownership, I mean, this just can't be right. Screwball's got to be – let's sort by projection first. Man, Dustin May. They really like Dustin May. I'm not sure quite as sold about that. I think it's going to be Skubal Cease at the top in terms of ownership. I think we see the Skubal could be like 38% or something like that. By far the best K prop on the slate. 6.5, some juice on the over at -150. Cease comes in number 2, 6.5, -110. And then we have Framber, Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, all looking at in the 5.5 range. Actually, let me say that. Shane Baz is 6.5 too. Good amount of juice on the under. Three pitchers stand out to me, and it's kind of what you said about weather. It's Skubal, not necessarily weather, playing in a dome, but assuming roofs closed, it's cold by you. Skubal is just the absolute man. Then it's Dylan Cease, though, and then it's Joe Ryan. The reason for that, Dylan Cease, 60 degrees in San Diego, a solid pitcher's park late at night. Very good matchup there, or very good spot in terms of weather and ballpark for a pitcher with a big K arm. Joe Ryan, 50 degrees in Minnesota. I don't love picking on the Mets. Good K prop, though. Good weather. They're favored. Should have a little bit of run support, maybe. I think Joe Ryan, for the price at very fair ownership, stands out as well. So, yeah, sorting by salary, Skubal, Joe Ryan, Cease. I'm definitely paying up at pitcher as well today. 8K and above. What do you got, Big Nades?
Yeah. So I'm surprised, even when I filter by high stakes ownership, I believe if you have I don't think you need the highest Saberson package to be able to filter by ownership. Maybe you do. I have the ultimate. I think it's significantly worth it. Even I don't play full-time DFS, but I do it pretty consistently. I play every day, obviously, as kind of a side gig here and take it really serious. And the top Saberson package definitely makes a ton of sense for serious players out there. It gives you the ability, like I just did, right? I filtered by high stakes single entry because I'm focused on the Qs and there's limited entries. And it bumps Skubal's ownership up to about 32%. And I thought that was kind of low coming in, but it just goes to show you how loaded this pitching slate is up top and kind of the tendencies as of late, right? These top end arms have gotten poked, beat up a little bit, right? I mean, we're coming off a Sunday where some of the top end arms got hit up a little bit. It's just been the case. So naturally, that kind of recency bias is so prevalent, relevant in DFS in today's world, right? What happened yesterday has to happen today. At least that's what the masses typically follow. So Skubal, I think, is a really good play. Obviously, it doesn't take me to tell you that here. I'm the Brewers guy. And I mean, Skubal is an elite pitcher. The Brewers have a ton of strikeouts in that lineup. So I love Skubal. He's far and away my SP1 on this slate if you can afford him. Why his ownership's held in check is because there's expensive offenses on this slate and there's so many other good arms, right? So I'm with you on Skubal. Joe Ryan, I'm with you there as well. I like the matchup for Joe Ryan. There is some power concerns, right, with the Mets bats there, but for the overall pitching weather there in Minnesota, it's not the greatest. I mean, there's double-digit wind blowing out to right center field, temperatures in the upper 40s, which isn't great for hitting. But when you have 15 to 20 mile an hour winds blowing straight out to center, and you got guys like Pete Alonso, Juan Soto, things like that, I think that is enough to keep ownership really held in check in Joe Ryan. I'll take that. I'll take the discount in ownership there for the upside. Huge strikeout arm. I like Joe Ryan a lot. I'm not really scared of this Mets team. They've been chalk pretty much all season long and in many of their games, right? And kind of just fell on their face. So I like Joe Ryan. I like his upside. The only thing that does scare me a little bit is, like I said, that wind blowing out there, but it is cold. So offsets a little bit there. Dylan Cease, I think, is a really good bounce back candidate. There's a lot of underlying metrics that say Cease should be back. I mean, he should be normal. He's just kind of getting hit with like BABIP and just some weak ground balls through holes, things like that are just leading to rallies, leading to runs, and just capping his upside there. But he faces probably the hottest team in baseball, right, in the Cubs. So what, tale of two tapes? I give the slight lean to Cease just because I think he's a really good pitcher in real life. The only issue is, man, he's 9,800. I would much rather just find the extra salary and get up to Skubal if I'm paying up that high, especially seeing what Cease's projected ownership's coming in at here. I just don't think on an 8-game slate you really need to pick on an offense like the Cubs, who is red hot right now. So for me, it's Skubal, it's Joe Ryan, and then my favorite pitcher on the entire slate in this upper tier is Framber Valdez. He's a ground ball guy in general. His strikeout numbers have started to come up, and this Cardinals team is just brutal. I mean, it's a good pitcher's ballpark there in St. Louis. Better than normal. It's more neutral than anything, but it's better than normal. And I like that Framber, number one, he's a ground ball guy, so he rarely is going to really kill you because he keeps the ball on the ground when it does get hit. And his strikeout numbers are looking good. He's looked good through a couple starts now. And the price point is nice. So I really like Framber. He's probably my favorite pitcher in the top tier. Then it's going to be Skubal, then Joe Ryan. And then it's Sonny Gray is fine. Yes. Shane Baz is fine, but the weather gives me a lot of concerns there. And I just don't think I really need to play that a guy that's going to get ownership at that salary, right, in a ballpark. Does he have upside? Absolutely. But I'm focusing on my two main teams here tonight. I'm probably not going to get to Shane Baz on a main team. Definitely would include him in MME sets. Dustin May is the wild card to me because we always historically know what Roberts does out there in LA with his pitchers. He hasn't made a ton of starts, right? He's dealt with injury concerns. It's just the matchup, man. He's strictly a matchup play. 9,300 for a guy that we just don't know what we're going to get in terms of leash, in terms of pitch counts. I mean, sure, he threw over 80 pitches his last start, but I mean, that could easily, Dave Roberts could easily yank him after 70 right here tonight. Could that be enough? Absolutely, against the Rockies. 9,300 though, you're paying for it, right? You're paying to find out. I mean, he's got to outscore at that price point. He's got to outscore Framber. He's got to outscore Joe Ryan. He's got to be close enough to Dylan Cease and Skubal, right? He's got to outscore Sonny. He's got to be that much ahead of Sonny Gray, Shane Baz. So it's just relative to the slate. I think he's fine. It's not like he's unowned. I mean, all these guys up here getting double-digit 15 to 20% ownership. It's going to spread. So for me, it's really three guys, right? Skubal, Valdez, and Joe Ryan are kind of the main three, and then everyone else after that is kind of close seconds. But I alluded to that all in the slate plan, and all of them definitely would make my MME set for sure.
Yeah, definitely good breakdown. I mean, for me, it's really clear. There's so many guys I like. I like Skubal, I like Cease, I like Ryan, I like Framber, I like Sonny Gray. To be honest, I'd be fine playing. If I was playing 3 teams today, there's no way I'd play any 5 pitchers besides them. If I was playing 8 teams, I really might not play any pitchers beside them. I think there's enough value on the slates. Again, 8 games, you can always get different with bats. I'm not worried about ownership. I do think, though, I just think this ownership's wrong, whether it's flagged. That's why I changed, 24, and then it goes up to 32 for high stakes. I mean, how many people in your 12, 20, 100 people today in the queue?
Yeah, 100 people in the queue. But here's the reason why I think his ownership does get held in check, because when people start going to build teams, right, they look at, obviously you got the Braves and the Tigers who are cheap, but you got the Royals and the Yankees in a really good hitting weather. They're expensive. You got the Dodgers facing the Colorado probably one of the worst pitchers on the slate to start in Santazella, and the worst bullpen in baseball behind him. And those guys are expensive, right? So the more people start building teams, I think naturally they're going to unclick Skubal, right, and go down to guys like Framber. But more importantly, guys like Shane Baz and Sonny Gray down at the 8,500, 8,400. And then we do have some cheap arms that are viable on the slate. I don't love them, but they are viable. So I do think his ownership does get held in check. High stakes, he's definitely going to be higher because smaller fields, sharper players typically is where people go in on the good plays, right, and let other people make mistakes. So I think Skubal is far and away the best play in the slate, especially if his ownership is held in check and gets squeezed, which I tend to believe it's going to when people start building teams.
Yeah. I disagree personally a little bit, but I guess we're going to find out. I just think the bottom of the order for so many of these spots, even the Dodgers, if you go, Freddie Freeman's not even 5K, he's 4.9, but Edman, Will Smith, you go to the bottom 5 in that order, all below 5K. You go to and that's the highest priced team on the slate. You go to the Yankees, obviously the guys you want, Judge 6.4, but Ben Rice leading off 3.9, Wells in the 3 hole 4.2K, Goldie in the 4 4.6. You can fit studs up top. Now going down, and regardless of what the ownership, again, I'd be unclicking May. I think Baz is fine if you're playing more teams, but again, I like these 5. I'd unclick him. Lucas looks awful. Now we go to 8K and below. If I had to pick 2, it would be Seth Lugo and Clay Holmes. Seth Lugo's K prop was actually, I just think he's by far, maybe not by far, but the best real life pitcher down below. And I do not like picking on the Yankees, but I was surprised to see that K prop. I believe it was 5.5 and juice. Yeah, 5.5 and minus 105 on the over. That's not bad against this Yankees team. Now, do I love Lugo? No. I'd much rather go Gray, Framber, Ryan, Skubal, Cease, pay up. If you are getting different, though, it'd be him. And then be Clay Holmes. Again, 49 degrees. I know wind's blowing out a little bit. man, just the cold weather, the ball doesn't fly as much off the bat. I always look at really cold weather versus, unless the wind's just straight out, and like Wrigley Field or some of the parks. Wrigley's the first one that comes to mind that the wind affects us a lot. But 50 degrees, I like pitchers in both sides of the game. I'd have a pitcher pool of I guess that's 7, but I don't even love Lugo. I don't love Holmes. If you can make a case for any of these guys down below, let me know. But I think Scooball probably gets you 24, and you need him. He'd be on majority of my teams. And then 2 of Cease, Ryan, Framber, Sonny go out there and pitch you a pretty solid game you need.
Yeah, so I'm with you. My favorite pitcher down low is Clay Holmes, far and away. I think he's good. I think he has talent, and I'm not really afraid of the weather there. I like the matchup, right? I'm not scared of this Twins team. It's brutal. Tanner Houck, I think, is a solid enough real-life arm, but there's enough holes I can pick in him that I just don't want to attack a guy against a good lineup that's playing good right now, is aggressive on the base pass, which can lead into a lot of issues, right, quickly. For pitchers, the Rays will run. They got a lot of left-handed power, which he struggles with, and it's the best hitting park and weather on the slate. So I think he's fine. I think he will get played down here just strictly due to salary. He's projecting to be the most popular guy down here, which I think is wrong. I mean, I would much rather find $300 and get to Clay Holmes for sure. And then I will bring up one. I'm with you on Lugo too. I don't mind Lugo, but I would much rather play Easton Lucas at $8,000, $400 more than Lugo, and go up against the clearest chalk of the slate. No Ozuna in that lineup. The Braves couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag as of late all year. And now it's just naturally because of their salaries in the slate that they're just mega chalk on the slate. I mean, Lucas is gone. He's 2-0 on the season. I was digging into his stuff. He faced Boston in Fenway, which is a hitter's park. I know it was a little cold, blah, blah, blah. Boston's not as great against lefties. I get all of that. But Washington is a solid offense. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out. I mean, he had 11 strikeouts. He's only given up 4 hits. His only thing is his pitch count's a little concerning, but I mean, I don't mind him. I'd much rather play him than Seth Lugo going up against the Yankees. So I think my tournament play for sure is Easton Lucas. It's not only leverage on the slate. I just think he has upside. I mean, this Braves offense strikes out in bunches. There's no Ozuna, which is another big power bat to hurt him. So if I was going to a tournament option, I would go to Easton Lucas in MME sets. I'm not playing Easton Lucas on single entries and 3-max kind of main team stuff, but in tournaments, I would definitely be over the field on him, and it's not going to take much. And he could be the key to the top of the leaderboards here, because there's going to be Brave stacks littered throughout every contest pool that you're in.
You're definitely right about that. So I said no to Lucas. People are asking me why, so I'll just get my quick thoughts. You're 100% right. You get to direct leverage. I'd be more willing to do it on a 4 or 5 game slate when I think direct leverage means more. And another thing is, I mean, he's not free by any means. AK, like I like Sonny, 500 more, 800 more for Framber, 1K for Ryan, C, Scooball. Like he has a real price tag. And the main thing, the pitch count, 82. I don't like relative compared to others. You look at his props, it's pretty much the same as Grant Holmes in that exact same game. And Grant Holmes is 1,500 more. They have the exact same K prop, 4.5 plus 125 on the over. And you look at Grant Holmes, his pitch count, looking at SaberSim right here, they're projected is even higher than Lucas for 1,500 less. And you look at it, I mean, the implied total, one of the highest on the slate going against it. Obviously, that's why the Braves get ownership. But I think just fading the Braves is enough on this slate that I just don't know if you need all the direct leverage. Now, you said you actually kind of liked him, period, and you think he has upside, and he's super low owned. But those are my reasons. Nades knows more about all those pitchers, stuff like that. He deep dive into that more, whereas I look at more of the broad stuff, the props, the projections, the ownership, the slates, etc. So that's just the reason I had. Nades gave the reason he did like it. We don't always agree, and that's the beauty of DFS on this. So was there any other pitchers below AK that you'd play? Otherwise, wrap up like your top 3. I made it clear. I think it's a spend-up pitching slate. If one of these guys down below or 2 of them is optimal, it's just not a slate for me.
Yeah, I mean, in relative to the slate, I don't think he's, like I said, that's why I wouldn't go there in main teams. It's just I do think he has upside. I think he's going to be a better pitcher than what people are giving him credit for. And I've picked on this Atlanta team all season. So I got enough good sample size for that. Do I think it's a slate? Probably not with other guys priced right around him. I just think in relative to Seth Lugo in particular, I'd rather pick on the Braves than the Yankees. I'd rather pick on the Braves in that ballpark in Toronto versus up in that Cracker Jack Park in New York. So that's personally the preference there. Down below, it's really Clay Holmes for me is the main guy. Sure, if you want to punt all the way down and you absolutely need the savings to go to a guy like Grant Holmes, I'm not going to do it, but I think he's fine. And then I gave the reasons on Lucas. But for me, it's definitely, if I can build my teams and grab two of these guys above 8,500, 8,800, right? That's the way I want to approach this slate mainly. So for me, it's Framber number 1, Skubal number 2, and then number 3 is probably Joe Ryan, Clay Holmes, and Sonny Gray is probably where I'm going tonight for sure.
I like it. Give me the 5 guys: the Sonny Grays, Joe Ryan, Framber, Skubal. After that, keep the pitching pool narrow, and it also, again, you can do that, and you can still play Aaron Judge and 5 Yankees. And then you're pretty much punting the other spots. You can get correlation in it, though, and play the 2 best pitchers. There's enough salary to do that on this slate. And again, ownership's always so spread out in MLB. Like, you don't need to worry about like the Duke stuff nearly as much as that. Now, if you go Cease, Skubal, top 5 in the Braves order from there, yeah, then I'm a little bit worried. But there's so many different combinations in baseball. You can always wrap around, do different things in little stacks like that. Holmes and Holmes, some people like. All right, we're going to go talk some bats. The first thing that stands out, I mean, first of all, actually, 335 people watching. Shout out to everyone hanging out with us on this beautiful Monday afternoon. All we ask is like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton, bringing you shows on this channel pretty much every single day. Now, there is no better time to get over $75 off for your first month. Usually $99, all the content and SaberSim Core. $75 off using promo code DGEN75. Only $24 for your first month, and the addition of SaberSim, less than $1 a day. So many sports still going on right now as well. As you can see, you can build 250 teams with the core, see 150 and late swap with it if you want to check out starter ultimates. That is also options as well. But look at all that, Nate. PGA still going on. NBA playoffs, going to be a lot of fun there. MLB, of course. No MMA. I think we had like 13 prior. Now MMA will be back, not this week, but after for a lot. NHL, can't wait for the NHL playoffs. NASCAR, big prizes as always on Sunday. No better time. Head over to SHIPIT.com. Who knows how long this promo code will be up. All right, Nades, a lot of 8.5 and 9 total. Not a lot of 9 totals, but relative to what we've had so far this year, 8.5 and 9 totals, a couple of them on this slate. We'll start with the first game of the night. 8.5 total right here in the best hitting weather. Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays small favorites, minus 118. 8.5 total, minus 118 on the over. First couple things that stand out. The great hitting weather, by far the best on the slate. It's going to be 80 degrees, wind blowing out a little bit in Tampa. And man, I mean, this ballpark plays small. The weather's good. I think both sides is pretty interesting. Now, there is 2 solid pitchers. They're not getting ownership really because the nature of the slates, the ballpark, the implied totals. But it's not like bums or cans on the hill, but a 342-foot fly ball that can go over the fence where it's not always going out in other places. So what wins out in this one?
Yeah, I'm taking hitting here. And the Rays are my favorite sneaky stack on the slate. They're direct pivots off of the Detroit cheap stack, and they're direct pivots off of similar salaries for the Braves. I'm seeing 80 degrees, 75 degrees, kind of middle of the game, and double-digit wind blowing straight out to kind of right center field, which I want the lefties anyways, right? So that gives them a boost. I mean, this park is 314 in the corner for lefties, right? 318 for righties in left field. So give me my definitely preferred side is picking on Tanner Houck and looking at his last 30-day numbers. Low strikeouts, I mean, sitting at 13.5%, a little bit higher to lefties, but that's where the power comes in. A lot of power to left-handed hitters. So I want the lefties in particular, and more importantly, the fly ball guys. Danny Jansen, obviously hits from the right side of the plate, but all that dude does is hit the ball in the air. I love Aranda. I like Taylor Walls, Brandon Lau, Cameron Misner. Those are kind of the main guys I'm focused on. Christopher Morel is another fly ball guy to put in there. But really, I'm probably not really playing much of Mangum and Yandy Diaz. Mangum does have power, a little bit of power, but Misner's more of the power bat there for the Rays. So for me, it's really everyone in this lineup outside of Yandy and Mangum, and even those guys are good in stacks. And then on the Red Sox side, I'd rather pick on Tanner Houck than Shane Baz, but the lefties, Duran, Devers, Weiler Abreu has been one of the best hitters in baseball. Cassis just can't hit his way out of a wet paper bag, but he does hit from the left side. David Hamilton is a punt guy at second base, shortstop. He's got stolen base upside as well. So it's the lefties in particular for me in this game, and definitely a lean more on the Rays side. And Rays are probably one of my favorite sneaky spots on the slate.
I like it. Yeah, I think Rays are very strong as well. Again, 4.5 team total, pretty solid, best hitting weather. But again, ownership, looking at right here, we are sharing off the stone, have the stone for all sports. So much you can see right here. Ownership, projection, the hitter rankings right here. You can see top 6 in the order, all in the top 80 of hitter rankings, grading out well there. Yeah, it doesn't look like a stack you want too much at the bottom of the order, and you did allude to that as well. So mainly 1 through 6, and again, their ownership's intact enough. The prices, you can easily go Scooball Cease, play 5 Rays, and have plenty of bats left right there. It's interesting too, though. Again, we don't share. We have hitter rankings, stack rankings, pitcher rankings. You can see the pitcher rankings on here, though. Shane Baz does grade out well, and he is pretty low owned. So again, we always recommend creating your own process. I mean, right here, more education, hour and a half. Tambo and Hoop Talk MLB. There's PGA, NFL. Definitely check this out if you're new to the sport. But yeah, very, very interesting seeing the Shane Baz number 2. That makes me not like the Red Sox. I didn't love them anyway. That makes me like them even a little less. And I mean, I don't want to play Hamilton. I don't want to play Narvaez. You were chirping Cassis. He grades out poorly. It'd be minis at best. But I like the Rays a decent bit in this spot. Maybe the more I look at it, Shane Baz, like he's going to be Sonny Gray, Framber, Joe Ryan, Cease, Duval. He's going to be lower than all of them.
Yeah, he'll be low on, especially because what just happened with the Rays pitching staff in their against the Marlins. Right, Marlins got to their pitching staff a little bit as well. I think the Red Sox offense is definitely better than the Marlins. It's definitely better hitting weather tonight than it has been as of late too out there. But Shane Baz is their ace. I mean, I think he's their best pitcher that they have. And this Red Sox team outside of Fenway is typically when you want to attack them. So I don't mind him. I was just looking at the career numbers though. 37 plate appearances, 16% strikeout rate for Baz against this Red Sox. I don't put too much stake into that, but when I'm looking for kind of tiebreakers and criteria in relative to another loaded slate, and that on top of the park and the weather, I mean, he's used to pitching in a pitcher's ballpark. Not the case right this year with the hurricane damage to their stadium.
Yep, good shout there. I mean, like you said, when Mike Trout's hitting 320-foot bomb, like that just shouldn't happen in the MLB. But hey, we can take advantage of it. Ownership stays low. From one good hitter's ballpark to the next, the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. Yankees minus 142 favorites. We're looking at a 9 total, minus 110 apiece on each side. First thing that stands out to me, this guy named Cookie Carlos Carrasco. That is someone I love picking on. Looking at the hitter rankings over here, I mean, man, everyone outside of Jonathan India in the 7 through 9. So I guess 2 through 6 is absolutely slam dunk plays. I mean, I will play anyone against Carrasco. Like if I had 2.5K and I need to play Kevin Biggio, he's got the platoon advantage. He has pop. He'll probably strike out 4 times, but anyone against Cookie's good with me in this park. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. All over the Royals. I do respect Seth Lugo, but man, I mean, the Yankees are just amazing. The park's just great. And outside of a couple bats, like they have enough cheap pieces. Like I said, Wells, Ben Rice, Goldie, 3 of the 4 in the top. 3 of the top 4 are less than 5K. I know I prefer Royal side, but can you talk me into some Yankees?
Yeah, I can. I do think there's some positive regression coming for Lugo. When I filter by last 30 days and look at his numbers, he's been reverse splitsy, which you want righties. And surprise, surprise, Aaron Judge hits from the right side of the plate in case everyone's living under a rock. And he's one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best. And Lugo over the last 30 days, right, has given up a 273 ISO, which is where the power numbers come in. 2 righties. He's got a ground ball rate less than 30%, right? Fly ball rates are way up. That's what you want, right? You want fly balls to hit the ball over the park. And I like the righties for the Yankees. They're going to be low owned. This offense has a ton of power, as we can see. The only thing that's kind of holding me back a little bit is they're my arch nemesis. I never get this team right. So I'm on the Yankees. That's probably a good spot to play Seth Lugo here. But when I compare that to last season, he's more neutral. He's definitely not been really splitsy. He doesn't give up a ton of power there. So maybe something's going on with Lugo, right? When I compare last 30 to what last season numbers show, that's enough for me to on a slate where hitting's just really not that great outside of and it's all condensing around teams that I really just don't love in general. I got to look for other spots. I think the Yankees fit that script. So I like the righties for the Yankees. I wouldn't sleep on the lefties. Ben Rice in particular is way too cheap leading off in this offense. He's a good hitter as well. So I really like Ben Rice too. But yeah, I mean, I'm loading the wagon on the Royals here. I mean, Cookie Carrasco is just horrendous. And this Royals team does have power and speed. I know our guy G. Risen talks about the Royals not hitting home runs. It's just been because it's April baseball and they play in Kansas City and it's been 30 degrees outside, right? So I think that's part of it. And now they're going out to Yankee Stadium, which our friends over at Ballpark Pal, right? I have a subscription over there and use their stuff a lot. It's got the two best. It's bright green for humidity, number one, and the pressure, which increase carry on fly balls. And the wind's slightly blown out to left field. I love this team. Royals are probably my favorite stack on the board. And I like Yankees as well. So this is probably my favorite offensive spot on the slate outside of the Rays spot. But I give this a lean just because I like both sides of this game. Definitely a lean more to the Royals, though. Pretty much all of them are in play for me. Don't sleep on those guys in the back half. I'm not really scared of those red numbers. Again, limited sample. We're looking at 10, 5, 16 at bats, right? And again, it's a nature of April baseball, and this team plays outside majority of their games, right? So I love this game.
Yeah, I mean, Royals look like smash. So compare Royals and the Rays if you had to pick. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer the Royals, I think, as an offense have more upside. But the Rays at the ownership, I probably put them ahead slightly in tournaments. But again, I'm not really too worried about ownership outside of teams like the Braves and the Tigers, which I didn't love in general already. And I alluded to that in the slate plan. So where I worry about ownership is where teams that I just didn't love, they're not hitting good right now in general. And then the masses are condensing on that as well. That's the spot where I like to I like to stay away from. Whereas the Rays and the Royals are both solid in my opinion. So not really worried. Royals, I think, have slightly more upside just because there's less pinch hit concerns for some of these Royals than there is the Rays, but love them both.
I like it. Great breakdown. I like them both as well. I guess, yeah, if these ownership numbers hold true and like the guys on the Royals I want to play are near the top half, I mean, I would lead in the Rays at lower ownership as well, but I'm not convinced it'll be that much of a difference. Could be wrong. Vinny P looks like an absolute smash, though, in the 3-hole. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slates, the chalk of the slates, as you can see right here, the Atlanta Braves taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. 8.5 total in this one, -118 on the over. Pretty much a coin flip to win, -112 for the Braves, -108 for the Blue Jays. So Grant Holmes might get a little ownership. Yeah, I mean, we got 7%. Not really. Two teams that are, or two pitchers, excuse me, grading out pretty bad on the pitching rankings. Looking at weather in this one. Yeah, I mean, there's no weather. It's in a dome. I'm tweaking. I don't know. Braves are going to be owned, Nades, but at what ownership do you think they will? So this is what I wanted to circle back. This question right up here. Hold on. It's about single entry and 3-entry max, but I want to make a twist. Single entry, or like what you're doing today in the queue versus the $5 contest right here. Are you more likely? So I'm kind of changing it. I could group in single entry and 3-entry max. I believe Saberson actually does. And then talk about 150. The Braves ownership in, let's say, the 121 today, 450 people. The Braves ownership in the $5 for 150 people. How do you think it changes? Common sense for me would say higher in the single entry, lower in the other stuff. And where would you be more likely to play? Where they're lower owned in the larger field stuff or the higher stuff? Because even though they're higher owned, there's less people with it. Because of the 60,000 people, they're 15% owned. Let's say 10% owned to make it easy. That's still 6,000 5-man Brave stacks you are competing with. So do you have any thoughts on that? Anything you want to else cover? Single entry versus MME, and then break down this game.
Yeah, good question. I think I'm more likely to play him in MME because naturally that's where more casuals and just less lineups, right? You don't have a ton of 150 maxers in. So that's where ownership typically is lower, number one, just due to field size in general, right? But people like to spread out more, right? Whereas I do think, right now, all of these Braves hitters, for the most part, the top guys that you want to play are all projected to be 25 to 30% owned in high stake stuff. And I think that climbs even more because look at the price points. The most expensive hitter is Matt Olson, lefty at 4,800. I think that makes Matt Olson number one a better play in Brave stacks because he's going to be the lowest owned guy, number one. He can hit left-handed pitching. And that's one way to get unique with the Brave stacks. But guys like Sean Murphy, Albies, Riley, De La Cruz are all going to be 30 to 35% owned, I would say, in high stakes. So naturally, in a spot where I'm looking at the numbers for this Braves offense this season, they have a .096 ISO against left-handed pitching and a 31% K rate. So that's kind of why I'm poking holes in them, but I would definitely be more inclined to play them in MME and get overweight on them in those contests because it takes less to get overweight on those and give you leverage on those in that type of field. Whereas I think higher stakes, the ownership's probably even going to come in higher than what it's projected at.
I love it. Great call. Are you playing any of the Blue Jays?
No Blue Jays for me. I just don't love this park in general, number one, for runs. I mean, this Toronto park is just not great for hitting. In general, I get it. It's in a dome and things like that. But I think in right center, if I'm not mistaken, right, they pushed the wall back, right? So the Braves are good plays, right? I mean, they're owned for a reason. I'm just looking off of how I've seen this team play this season, what I've seen Lucas do through his 2 starts, right? I'm throwing everything out because these pitchers can work on stuff in the offseason, right? So you can't really compare. I mean, unless the pitcher's just overall just horrendous. But he showed me enough in these 2 starts in terms of the metrics and the data that I'm willing to throw out what I've seen from him in years past and what I've seen from this Braves offense. So my favorite guy from the Braves would be Matt Olson, just because he can hit lefties, right? You see that right there on the stone. He hits for power. He doesn't really K a ton, puts the ball in play, and he's going to be the lowest owned in this offense. So for me, I actually put Matt Olson as the number one and then filter in who you want. Don't forget about guys at the back half, right? Arcia, Eli White, Michael Harris. Those guys are never fun to click on, but that's a natural way, right, to get different in your stack. And then no Blue Jays for me against Grant Holmes. There's some leverage there, but I just don't think Grant Holmes gets ownership, enough ownership to matter. Sure, you can play Bo Bichette, Jimenez, Santander, Vlad, the guys at the top, but that back half of the lineup is just abysmal, and it hurts when you play a team like that can't turn the lineup over, right? I mean, you're looking at Ernie Clement, Rodin, Miles Straw, Nathan Lukes, Heeneman. Like, I mean, how often are those guys going to put the ball in play and turn that lineup over to get you potentially 5 at-bats from a Bo Bichette, right, or a Vlad? It's just not something for me. So no Blue Jays for me. Definitely way underweight on the Braves. I would play them in MME, like I alluded to in the slate plan, and I'd look to get overweight on them in those type of contests. Single entries, 3-max stuff, I'm definitely way underweight.
Yeah, I don't love many Anthony Santander is definitely my favorite Blue Jay. I mean, he hasn't been hitting the ball great, it's the problem, but man, he has power. The ISOs, the WOBA is definitely good if you look at last year and this year as well. Has the platoon advantage, obviously a switch hitter. He'd be the one if anyone, but it's hard for me to even really mini stack it because the guys I do want are mainly 1 through 4, and that's a pretty expensive mini stack on a slate where I already know I want to spend up at pitching, and I prioritize the batters in my 5-man stack more than a mini stack. So yeah, Santander at best is how I see the Blue Jays. All right, let's keep it rolling again. Appreciate everyone hanging out. The like button and subscribe button helps us out a ton. Chalkiest pitcher on the slate and number 1 in our rankings. Tyreek Skubal on the mound against Tyler Alexander for the Brewers. -162 are the Tigers. 7.5 total in this one, and the under is juiced at -122. I don't care what leverage the Brewers have against Skubal. The slate's big enough. I will live to fight another day if the Brewers are on it. You mentioned the Tigers, as you see some ownership right here in the top half. They're cheap. They allowed you to spend up for double pitching easy. Tyler Alexander is not great, but yeah, you said you do not want to play some Tigers with ownership. You said you didn't even like them much anyway, so why do you not like G. Risen's boys and Torkelson in the 4 role?
Yeah, I mean, Torkelson for sure. I mean, he's my favorite guy because his pinch hit concerns aren't really there, but the guys, right, the righties in the back half, I mean, guys like Creedler, I mean, some of these guys are definitely pinch hit concerns for sure. Any lefties that start the game are probably pretty safe, and then they have the platoon advantage. But Alexander's been decent this season so far, and if he's decent enough to keep this game close, the Brewers have a really good bullpen when they're using their good arms, right? The back half of the lineup and blow up pen and things like that are what you've seen their pen be terrible, right? But I think
I don't know. McGill might be cheeks.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I still have seen it, right? I talked about it when the Royals played the Brewers and the Royals were mega chalk. I said, how this goes south is, I forgot who was starting, right? Some jabroni was starting for us because our pitchers are all hurt. I said, if this game is fairly close, I said the good arms are going to come out of the pen and the upside just limited, right? And that's exactly what happened. The chalk fell on their face. And I could see that here as well. Plus, you have the pinch hit concerns with the Tigers. My favorite play by far is Torkelson, and then a cheap catcher in Dingler. Those are probably the two guys that I would have interest in as a mini, because 3,900, 3,700 both have a ton of power, and it's catcher's a onesie position where you're really looking for a home run, right? At the catcher position, you're not really going to get a guy that's going to go out there and go 4 for 4, right? Steal any bases, anything like that. So you're looking for upside, and that's home runs. So that's really all you're looking for. But I don't mind Torkelson, Dingler. Underweight on all these other guys. Glaber's okay, I guess, but I don't love it either. And then on the Brewer side, Churio's the only one I would even consider as a one-off, just because the dude is good at baseball. It doesn't matter really who you're throwing against him. And Scooball has been hit around a little bit this season, but yeah, I'm not stacking up the Brewers, just a Churio or a Contreras one-off who historically hit left-handed pitching really well.
Yeah, there's 8 games on the slate. Talked about enough teams that we liked a little bit earlier. A couple teams I like later. So this is just not a game I want to target for bats. If Andy Ibanez is 16% in tournaments, if that's accurate.
So I just refreshed and got, because we don't have their lineup updated in there and it's out. I will say Henry Malloy is leading off for the Tigers. He's going to be super chalky, huge pinch hit concern. Ibanez, pinch hit concern, and then Creedler, pinch hit concerns. So those are 3 guys for sure that are definitely pinch hit concerns that I'm looking at for sure for the Tigers. And I haven't pulled up the salary on Henry Malloy, but last time he was on the slate, I mean, the dude was like 35% off in a similar spot. So, and got pinch hit for, and I think the 5th or 6th inning.
2.5K, third base.
Yeah, so third base is a terrible position in general. I mean, he's probably going to be the highest owned player on the slate, if not one of them. I mean, the only thing helping is Austin Riley's at that same position, right? But if you're looking for salary, which we need with loaded arms, I mean, I expect him to probably be the highest owned player on the slate, and he could see 2 at-bats.
Great point. That's a great call. Kyle Manzardo is another one that I always get a little bit worried. And there's nothing worse than just getting 2 at-bats, your dude's pulled. That can be real tilting for sure. Not a great game. To another one that I don't love as much for bats. Obviously, we talked about pitching. I had some interest in Clay Holmes and Joe Ryan. But the Twins and the Mets, we're looking at a 7.5 total, minus 120 on the over. Minus 120 are the Twins, plus 100 are the Mets. Again, this is the worst hitting weather on the slate, a little below 50 degrees. I like Joe Ryan a little bit. Solid minus 150, 5.5K prop. I don't love picking on the Mets, but again, there is some Ks a little bit at the bottom of the order. Bad hitting weather. Yeah, I mean, Joe Ryan, and again, Scooball, Framber, maybe Sonny. I'm not sure about that, but I think Joe Ryan's going to be kind of a pivot in that tier. Again, we're showing 16%. I do think Scooball is going to be closer to like the 40 range. Cease gets some steam. So I like both pitchers. I don't like the weather for hitters. Pretty much out on this. And again, hitter rankings don't like this game much. Couple on the Mets side. Do you see anything differently?
No, and another thing going is the Twins throughout the start of the 2025 season have had the best bullpen in baseball as well, metrics-wise on FanGraphs. So that's another thing going against them. The only thing, right, is the wind. But again, it's 45 degrees. So does 15 to 20 mile an hour winds help when the corner is 328? The power alleys are 370 and center field's 400. Not a ton. The only guys I would have interest in are Pete Alonso, Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, who's on fire right now, and he's got the platoon advantage there. Those are really the only guys I would even have any sort of, and Juan Soto, right? So just the top 4 as just leverage. I mean, but I don't think you need to do it, to be honest. There's better spots on the slate. And then the Twins side, I mean, it's not for me. Clay Holmes is my favorite cheap pitcher, and this Twins offense has been brutal in general. So I'm not going to pick on a guy that struck out about 30% to both sides of the plate over the last 30 days. I just don't think you need to go there.
I respect Clay Holmes. I'm playing Joe Ryan. I'm playing Framber. I'm playing Sonny Gray, so I'll tip my hand. This ain't a game I'm playing Screwball, so he didn't play the Brewers. And yeah, like from there, like the Yankees, the Royals, Braves, I guess I'm more likely to have a little more Braves and Tigers than Nades. Again, they only made a couple teams, but really, I just don't really want to play the offenses against the pitchers. Joe Ryan, Clay Holmes, some interest in Framber, Sonny Gray, in 7.5 total this one, Nades, or 7 total. I'm sorry, -118 on the over. Pretty much a coin flip. -112 are the Astros, plus or -108 are the Cardinals. I guess Jordan. I mean, of course, he always grades out well in the hitter rankings when he has the platoon advantage. If you want to one-off him, sure, but it's just so expensive. I don't see myself doing that much, especially when I'm paying up at pitcher. I'm just not getting to this game. Like, I'll play the Rays. Give me the Yankees. Give me Boston over guys like this. Like, I'm playing these pitchers. I'm not playing these bats. If a 7 total beats me, I will live.
I think Sonny Gray is also a smart enough pitcher not to let Jordan, right, the one guy that he has to worry about, the only lefty bat in the lineup, right? I don't think he's really worried about Jordan. Obviously, Jordan is fine, but at 5,700, I'd rather spend up for the Dodgers, right? I'd rather spend up for Kyle Tucker, who's a little bit more, or play a Sia Suzuki, right? Something like that. Not a spot. I like both pitchers in this game. Passing for any sort of hitters here.
Let's keep it rolling. No time to waste. San Diego Padres and the Chicago Cubs. 7.5 total. Still juice on the under. -118 on the under. Padres -148 favorites. Cubs +124. Mentioned the Cubs have been hot. No doubt about that. And you get very, very low ownership. But that's because Dylan Cease is on the mound. I will say, when you look at content, 13th is Dylan Cease in our pitcher rankings. He's going to probably be the second highest owned pitcher on the slate. So maybe the stone right now, looking at content, and these hitter rankings aren't bad. So right now, like if I had to look for the direct leverage of the slate based on our content, it looks like the Cubs for me. Guaranteed ninth inning at bats as well. I don't know. I just don't know I need it when like Royals aren't low owned, but Rays, even Boston, Yankees. There's just enough other spots I like more. But if I need a low owned spot, I guess Cubs aren't like I prefer Cubs to Cardinals or Astros. I prefer Cubs to Twins, Mets, and they're going to be super, super low owned. And you talk about a lineup at least can turn itself over. This lineup can a little bit. So Cubs, I guess, I don't know. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Padres, I think Tatis is a phenomenal spend. Not going to get much ownership. Taillon is a solid real-life pitcher. Just nothing wows you. And another lineup I think is solid at getting very, very little ownership. Look at that. We're looking at 28% when you add everything up. Just going over to like the Tigers, 48%. Going over to the Blue Jays. Man, this looks high. 73, 98 for the Braves, 91 for the Royals. Like you're getting a third of the ownership on a team like the Padres. If there was a sneaky game I had to pick at no ownership, Ignades, I think this would be the one. But I've talked enough. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't mind this game because both these offenses put the ball in play. And when you put the ball in play, things can happen, right? I mean, it takes one error to put a couple guys on base, right, in a home run. You're looking at a ton of points there, right? So I don't mind the spot. I definitely prefer the Cubs side. I'm with you there just because I ride hot streaks in baseball, much like G. Risen does. These guys hit right-handed pitching good. I mean, the addition of Kyle Tucker makes this offense, deadly, right? I mean, so I like the Cubs more. And then on the Padres side, I wish Jackson Merrill and Cronenworth weren't injured because I would love them. Taillon historically struggles against left-handed power, but I like the spot. So for me, the Cubs, Kyle Tucker, Michael Busch, two favorite plays for sure there. Pete Crow Armstrong, another guy I love because he's got stolen base upside and he's cheap. Nobody ever plays him, and the dude's good, right? He's a solid hitter. He'll steal second, right? I mean, it doesn't take him hitting the ball over the fence to have upside, right? So, and the Cubs have shown they will run, right? And there's just not enough people don't account for stolen base upside, I don't think, in today's DFS world, especially on big slates like this when they're making everyone just looks for home runs, right? Stolen bases have a ton of upside there. So I like the Cubs. And then on the Padres side, I mean, Gavin Sheets, don't sleep on him. Tatis. And looking at the numbers over Tyon just to start the season here, the last 30 days, he's actually been more reverse splits than he has. And I like that more when you got a lineup of your two best hitters are Tatis and Machado hitting from the right side. I mean, a 486 ISO in 36 plate appearances, which isn't the greatest sample, but it's good enough, right? 486 ISO, fly ball rate approaching 36%. I don't mind that for some power hunting. I'm probably not going to full 5-man stack either of these teams, but as 3-man stacks for sure. And the leverage, they're going to be unowned with upside. So I like that. Padres, Tatis, Machado, Sheets, Arias is fine. He just never strikes out, always puts the ball in play. I would stay away from the Iglesias, the Lockridge, the Jason Haywards, of the world, Diaz, because those guys are just cheeks. I would stick to the top 5 for the Padres, and the Cubs, pretty much everyone are in play. And my boy Carson Kelly, the GOAT, just continues to hit bombs. So don't sleep on him either.
Look at that. Hitter rankings most definitely picked that up, even though he's projected to be in the 8-hole, number 9 hitter ranking right there. You love to see that. Yeah, the more I talked about it, if I had a sneaky game, I think this might be the one. If some of that chalk bust early and not many runs are scored, you could be sitting very nicely with a late night hammer. The problem is, I assume Nades will have his NHL core after this show up pretty soon. Thing is, late night hammer, even if that game still does well, the Dodgers are always scary when they're going against this guy named Antonio Senzatella. I don't know how they're not the best on the slate. Well, I think they are by a mile. It's just we play an ownership game, or ownership and a salary-based game. They're going to be owned. They're very high in salary. I like pitchers up top. So it makes sense. But, yeah, I mean, minus 360. Look at that. The biggest favorite was Scooball at minus 166. Was actually minus 162 when he took a little money. Minus 360 are these Dodgers against the Rockies, plus 285. 8.5 total, slight juice on the over. Dodgers minus 1.5 favored. I mean, Dodgers would smash. Senzatella, cheeks. Many probably already know from last week. Brewers in Coors Field. Obviously, it's a lot harder pitching Coors than it is in Los Angeles, but they just teed off on them. Going against the best lineup in baseball can definitely turn over this lineup. The thing I like about the Dodgers is like, okay, I can play 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. I can play 3, 4, 8, 9, 1. Obviously, I skip some, but I can do whatever I want with the Dodgers. Pretty much, I do not care about their names. I'll throw it to you on, is there any pinch hit risk, you think, in this lineup? Is Andy Page going to get pinch hit at all? It's really the only one I'm looking at that possibly could. But
maybe slightly, but if he's in there and starts against the righty, I mean, he's fine because he's better against left-handed pitching. So if he starts, I mean, I'm not worried about it. And this Rockies bullpen behind them are just absolutely horrendous. And if this ownership is I mean, Conforto's been an everyday player for them, so I don't think there's really the only guys that really have pinch hit concern are like guys like Rojas and things like that. But those guys play once in a while, right? The main pinch hit guys for the Dodgers really don't play much, so you're not really looking at that, especially with Freddie Freeman back in this lineup. So you don't have to really worry about pinch hit concerns there. They're not like the Twins or some of those Tigers guys, etc. Dodgers usually roll their guys out and keep them out there.
Break down this game. I assume no Rockies, but Dodgers, any favorites? How much you think you're playing? Do you think they're going to be on one of your 2 or 3 main teams today? What are you doing?
Yeah, Dodgers far and away my top stack of the board, especially if this ownership stays in check. And I think it should, right? Because they're the guys you want to play, right? Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teo are up there, but really only Ohtani and Betts are really up there in price. I mean, 4,900, 5K is really not much when you're affecting. You have all the other hitters and the cheap guys that you can play at like third base, right, second base, etc. So I love the Dodgers here. Tommy Edman has been straight raking, and you can play him at second base, which is a weak position. I like him a ton. Conforto, I like a ton. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez. I mean, all of them great in play. However you can stack them up. I love the Dodgers. They get a bad starter, and then they get an even worse bullpen behind them. And ownership is not. I mean, on a normal slate, these Dodgers would be mega chalk but it's just the nature of the slate we have because of the spend up pitching. People are forgetting about this team, and I think it's a mistake. Even if their ownership does come in higher, I don't care. They will be for sure on one of my main teams. Not sure what one yet, but my cores will be posted on the site. I love the Dodgers. No Rockies interest for me.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Dodgers look very, very strong. I was trying to look into Mets total drop from this morning. When I'm checking, I check like Fantasy Labs. Sometimes they show like the line movement. Like I guess it opened -116 Minnesota, now -120. I'm still seeing the total at 7.5. Could have been like -120 to open. Now it's +100. So they're very well could have been some noticeable line movement, but I'm seeing open 7.5, still 7.5 right now. What's going on, Jordan? Always good to see you. Big Nades, awesome show as usual. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out, all 300 of you. Again, no better time to get over. If you want to join the best community in DFS, by far the best Discord, by far the cheapest content with what we believe to be the best, DGen 75, $75 off your first month. Usually $99, brings you all the way down to $24 with all of our content for all sports and the addition of SaberSim, be able to build 250 teams, see 150, and be able to late swap. Very, very big. By far the best optimizer out there. If you want to check out the starter to get SaberSim's projection and ownership, you can upgrade to that as well. Ultimate for the contest sims, $297 for your first 30 days. Super pumped for this slate, Big Nades. 8 games pitching to spend up slate for me. Talked about the low owned stacks that I like. If you are going down, it can definitely get you on a little different roster construction, though, with many spending up.
Hey, final thoughts. I got to give the people a couple home run calls just because that's how me and Ham always end it. A little fun segment. I got two lefties. I'm going to Jonathan Aranda, hitting fourth for the Rays. Love that. Love the leverage. And then I'm going to the Dodgers. I'm going to the 5 spot projected right now. Michael Conforto hits one deep. So a couple lefties hitting in the heart of those lineups on 2 of my favorite stacks of the night. Lock them in. And then for me, final thoughts. Be worried of the Braves. That's my biggest stance on the slate. I'm underweight on the Braves. If they beat me, they beat me. I'll log into DraftKings tomorrow and play again. And same thing with the Tigers there. So I think we talked through it enough. Slate plans up. Cores are coming up now. And then, for the NHL core, I'm throwing that up as well. NHL slate plan will return when playoffs are back in a couple days here.
I love it. Last thing I got to ask you, Big Nades. Slots. Is there skill? Is there something you see? Are you just be clicking these buttons and God's looking down at you, just giving you all the cheese? I mean, this man's been on complete fire at the slots. You just got to let me know. Is it all luck? Is there some skill? What's going on?
Yeah, I typically stick to the same ones, and then I look at the kind of majors up on top and see anytime they're approaching that $3,000 mark for a major, that's getting up there pretty high. So I mean, obviously got to have luck, right? It's the highest RTP for on slots is for the casino, right? Obviously, that's where they make all their money. But I've done pretty good over the last couple of months there. So I stick to kind of the similar ones, right? And just get lucky, I guess, right? So that comes in waves too, right? Out there, but there's I watch a lot of live streamers out there too, like that play.
Exposed.
Yeah, Exposed. I watch other guys like the Big Jackpot, right? That actually go to physical casinos and have capabilities to be able to live stream, right? Slot play and things like that. So I watch those guys because if they're throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at slots, I probably going to follow what machines and things that they play, right? Because I see if they're playing it, there's probably a reason, right? When they're spending that kind of money. So that's there's nothing else to it, really. I mean, you got to be lucky, you got to be in the right spot at the right time, but also if you're looking for a couple of those things, right, you can at least improve your chances a little bit. And hey, you're the king of ROI and you're the king of plus EV, and if you can get any sort of boost your way in those regards, it's better than nothing.
You're 100% right. If you call me that, I mean, that makes sense in this aspect. I've never actually, I'll take it back, $20 in a slot machine once. Never will put it again. The only reason I did that, I was underage at Vegas in my first time. I wanted to check out if my fake ID worked so I could book it if they said no instead of at a table and risk it that way. It worked. Never will ever put a penny in the slot machine again. But hey, if I knew I was going to be hitting for 3,000-4,000 like Big Nades every day, then I would. But appreciate you, Big Nades. Awesome talking some baseball. Every single one hanging out. Had so much fun. The chat, you guys are what makes the show a lot of fun. Again, slate playing up. Definitely check it out. MLB NHL if you want to check out Big Nade's Core. When NBA comes back, all the content, of course. Awesome stuff, Nades. We'll be back tomorrow like usual. For Big Nades, I'm Titletown. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.